as the media weren't doing their work, the outbreak of fake news and misinformation, people who were either spreading misinformation to mislead the media themselves, or people who were purporting to be media houses. You clone the headline of a media house and run, or you try to form a website or the logo of a media house and spread information to that level. Then it is up to the media house to move out and try to clarify, say that information is not from us, that has not been verified and all that. So if you look at those general challenges and the lack of infrastructure, the threats, ad hoc threats, we recorded a lot of threats, not nationally coordinated, but local offshoots of people who want to prevent access to information and media performance. When you look at those collectives, they make the work of the media difficult. Remember, we're talking about the media was already facing challenges, the ability to deploy, the limited resources, the lack of any support to the media to cover the election was a big challenge. Now then, when you have people chasing you around, or people trying to destroy your equipment or trying to harm the journalists, and then another bunch of people spreading fake news in your name, it's really a trying environment. And but I would say that the media did its job fairly well, and that there's always an area of improvement, especially if we reflect that the election ecosystem is changing fast. So the media should therefore also learn to move and adjust itself to that. So the media should stick to reporting on the electoral processes, not attempting to do part of the electoral processes, like saying now we are going to count or tally. There is a body that is given billions of money to count votes and to tally the votes. The media should report whether the body has done its work diligently and accurately, not take over the work of counting votes or tallying the votes. Because that is the media. The Kenyans expect the media to tell them this is how the numbers are looking, or this is how IEBC is conducting elections, or the observers, or security sector, or the general environment. But when you say, therefore, we have taken over the work of IEBC and therefore we are counting, so come to us for the count and all that, you are literally telling the guys who have a sole mandate to count and tally, you're telling them, no, we don't trust you, we are doing it ourselves. While the media's work should be, we are looking at how the body is doing its job, we think it's doing a good job, we think there are challenges, or we cast doubt on the integrity of these processes because of one or two things. So it isn't about you taking over the process, but really highlighting about how the process is taking place.
One of the issues we had concern with even before elections was the preparedness to the point of where there were many election laws or election-related laws that were being passed in Parliament, or bills pending in Parliament, and there was minimal time for public to engage. In fact, there was very little or no space for the public to engage. And even as a sector, we tried to engage on such laws as the Election Campaign Finance Act, the Election Laws Amendment Bill, and the Political Parties Amendment Bill, which was eventually passed. And in this case, if we are concerned also about the role of political parties, and what does the passage of the Political Parties Amendment Act mean for citizens' engagement through the political parties, and also on issues of multi-partyism. We have these big political parties, but there was little public engagement on it, and we have seen it has implications on even representation in Parliament based on the recent ruling by the Speaker on issues who is the minority. And also at a larger scale, we have to look at what does this mean for the public. Has the public been excluded from the formation of coalition political parties? Also of interest is the issue of the untested election laws, the Campaign Finance Act, and it's a role that is supposed to be implemented by the IBC, and we saw that it is yet to be implemented. And then amendments came, even the law was effected. That means there's a lot that needs to be looked at. How do we keep the political parties and candidates accountable on how they are spending, and knowing that the political campaigning can be used for can be used to corrupt the electoral processes, which also again will infringe on Article 81 of the Constitution on the free and fairness in the terms of is there improper influence, is there corruption in the election process. And this also touches on the use of public resources. We may not be able to know if we don't have a monitoring mechanism that is supposed to go to the IBC.
For the first time ever in the history of all the elections and the performance of the police, we exceeded expectations. And this is not just because we just woke up and performed well. We put in so much work. It is the planning we put in right from the last general elections, the kind of partnerships we put in, working together with all parties across, and that's why you can see me here with the media, who are part of the journey. We learned lessons from the past elections, knew where we went wrong, and then sat down and came up with a mechanism of how to go forward. So it's all about partnerships, the support we got from Kenyans, and then the engagements we had with all the stakeholders, freely sharing all the information that we had, the kind of peace messaging campaigns we had, just those kind of discussions. But then for the misses, of course, there might be here one or two issues. There's nothing much. For example, during my speech, I mentioned very well that picking up the media, for example. Before, we used to have those kind of conflicts all the time. This time we had none. You'll be told that, even general deaths, around the election period, there was none. So there's very little misses. But then, of course, should there be anything, you can learn from it and move forward. We really focused on democratic policing ideals, and that got into the training. We trained our officers, told them we are going into these elections as the servants of the people. You are going to aid the IBC, and you have to be responsive to all the issues. So that's basically the framework that we used this time around, going there as a supporting agency, at the same time as the servants of the people, and going there, that's why you could see that most of the police officers, they were actually, apart from even giving the security, they were there aiding the people, showing them where to go and vote, where to line, and those kind of general information. So that's the approach we took. And it was based on these democratic policing ideals, the respect for human rights, and rights for all other people.